Standard Bank Group and the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China participated in the third biennial China-Africa Economic and Trade Expo. The event was held in the Chinese city of Changsha and is aimed at fostering direct business cooperation between African nations and the Asian powerhouse. The continent's biggest bank by assets, Standard Bank, showcased African produce at the Expo. Here's my conversation with Head of Trade for Business and Commercial Banking, Philip Myburgh. Now, as Standard Bank, how do you gauge the outcomes or the successful outcomes of an expo such as this?
We do it for two reasons. First and foremost, we've got these clients from all over the continent that participate, and they stretch across multiple products, whether it's nuts, wine, honey, sesame seeds, etc. We aim to transform the futures and the destinies of those businesses, and we almost always do. Having now taken the third one having taken place, the feedback that we're getting from clients is very, very positive. And the second component is it showcases our ability to help African businesses across the continent leverage the platforms that we've built to engage and take this opportunity that exists with this consumer market in China. So it's very much a direct opportunity, and then the secondary what happens after the event, and showing that this opportunity does exist, and there's players in the market that can help it make it easier for you.
So in terms of business deals sealed, what sort of numbers are we looking at?
So we measure it in different ways. There's official contracts signed with the media at the event. Some of them are our clients, some of them are not, but all of them are African businesses. At the event itself, there were deals signed close to $10 billion. I mean, it's massive, the event, the size of these transactions. These are the big ticket transactions, and of course those catch the headlines. The ones that we're particularly interested in is the smaller transactions that really grow the small businesses that we also want to influence. And those negotiations and those contracts do take some time to land, and we keep tracking them, and some of them will take months and years to conclude. But it's very encouraging to see the numbers starting to come through.
Now, what obviously makes you an exciting partner for any business is your relationship with ICBC. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, we've got this unique relationship with ICBC as a Standard Bank Group. They've got a 20% shareholding in the Standard Bank Group. That allows us a very, very broad network in China, which is quite unique because China is a complex market to crack. And you need a very strong local partner. And I mean, the biggest bank in China you'll struggle to get a better partner from a networking perspective like that. So we've leveraged it over the years in many different shapes and forms. This is one of them, in which we're using that network to gain access to buyers and importers in China as off-takers for African products. Over the years, we've also developed solutions that goes the other way, where we've found world-class technologies and manufacturers of equipment to help African businesses and the industrialization of African businesses gain access to that equipment so that we can stimulate that growth on the continent. So the ICBC relationship has been fantastic in that regard.
Now, Philip, you talk about the complexities of doing business with China. So I'd imagine that there are many intricacies to successfully exporting product to China. What are some of those challenges, and where does Standard Bank come in terms of the relationship or the advice that you would give to some of your clients?
Yeah, it's a complex environment, and businesses that are used to exporting are often used to exporting to Europe and to the US, and those cultures are slightly closer to home for us. The language is slightly closer to home. The way we do business is slightly closer to home. The Chinese, of course, is a very different kettle of fish. So it's a whole new dynamic. It's a whole new mindset that you've got to approach with. The regulatory environment sometimes is quite complex. And at times, our own governments in the various markets in which we operate across the continent are at times somewhat immature in the trade protocols that we have in place. So you'll be surprised at times to see how few products you're able to export into these markets. So some of these we can inform directly as a Standard Bank Group by helping our clients connecting to the right players, reputable buyers, reputable sellers in China, businesses with track records, etc. Help with the language barrier, help with the culture barrier. Those we can influence directly. The ones we're trying to influence indirectly is to work with our partners in government to start influencing how they think about the China opportunity and start getting those trade protocols in place with their counterparts in China.
Now, these transactions or this trade, is it limited to just product, agriculture, in this instance, going across to China, or are we experiencing skills transfer of sorts?
So I think there's a couple of components to that question that we're going to look at. One, it's certainly not just agriculture. We as a Standard Bank Group believe there's a real opportunity in agriculture. So we've focused a lot of our energy on agriculture specifically. The history of African export to China, as you know, has very much been dominated by the mining and mineral sectors, a very mature space. We think one of those next sectors where the opportunity lies sits in agriculture, both primary but also processed agricultural, which is really where we believe more effort needs to go, where the value-adding component goes. So I think that's where the real opportunity and the focus is. In terms of skills transfer, that comes next. We're starting to see components of that. We're starting to see Chinese businesses in the African continent in this sector. We're starting to see Chinese investment in this sector, and with that comes skills, expertise, equipment, and all of those types of things. So slowly but surely you're starting to see that maturity in the trade relationship coming through, but we've still got some way to go.